Uh, so good morning. My name is Melanie Mulcaster. I am currently on secondment with TVO. I'm an educator and teacher librarian from the Peel District School Board, and I will be returning to the role of teacher librarian in the Peel District School Board next year. I'll hand it over to Natalie to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Perez, and I am the Outreach Support Officer at TVO. I'm also an educator with Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board, and I'm just excited to be here and to learn with everyone today and really share our resources, language-based resources specifically that TVO has to offer. Thanks, Mel. Over back to you.
And just Iniel Imparaja is our third member who's going to be supporting us in the background. Yes. So you may have met Iniel in the last session. So Iniel, I'll just give you a chance just to say a quick hello to those our friends who have not met you yet.
Thank you, Mel and Natalie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Iniel Faraja, and I'm an educator from the Toronto District School Board on secondment with TVO as well. And I look forward to sharing TVO Learn resources that align with anything language and literacy. So thank you for having me.
We are so excited that you've joined us with us today. You may notice on the screen right now, there is a link to the slide deck that has everything hyperlinked that you may wish to access later on. So Iniel and Natalie, I'm sure, or Sadia would post that link in the chat box for us. So we would like to begin that by recognizing wherever in Ontario we're logging in from today, that we are located on the traditional territory of Indigenous peoples. We wish to acknowledge all Indigenous people in Ontario and their traditional territories, all the nations across this province that have called this land their home for thousands of years. TVO is located on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. When I think of land acknowledgements, I also recognize that a land acknowledgement is more than just acknowledging the traditional territory upon which I reside. When I think of land or territorial acknowledgements, I also think about treaties, and I think about relationships and the need to repair and to rebuild and to reconnect relationships, not only with the First Nation, Métis, and Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island, but the need to repair and rebuild relationships within our own communities and the environment. Because I am a teacher librarian, I would like to share not the whole text, but a little bit of a text with you called Be a Good Ancestor. And we think about our journeys on that path to reconciliation. We really want to think about ways that we can be a good ancestor for the world today, a good ancestor for the world tomorrow, and tomorrow's tomorrow. So I'm just going to quickly bring up the text for you and share a few pages. Are you able to notice the book on the screen? Perfect. So the text is called Be a Good Ancestor by Leona and Gabrielle Prince. Oops, back to the page. So, be a good ancestor with the land. Seeds become seedlings. Seedlings become trees. Trees become forests. Forests become oxygen. Be a good ancestor with your neighbors. Neighbors become friends. Friends become communities. Communities become nations. Nations become allies. Be a good ancestor with your thoughts. Thoughts become ideas. Ideas become actions. Actions become movements. And movements become change. Thank you, everyone. So we will begin by sharing a brief overview of the vision here at TVO and an overview of some of the digital learning resources. So I'm going to mute myself and press play.
Great video. Thank you, Mel. I'll provide just a brief overview of TVO's resources. If you were part of the previous presentation about with math and science with Iniel and Sadia, you'll notice that there may be some overlaps, but we will be providing specific examples that are language-based from our learning activities to the tools that you can use in your classrooms and with your students. So to start off, TVO Learn, TVO digital learning resources support learners of all ages. Starting with TVO Learn, it is an open access resource with learning activities for all subjects in the Ontario curriculum, and they're separated by grade levels. Mel will do a demo so you can see what the website looks like as well and how you can access our language resources. TVO Learn Empower, which is also on the slide there, is a resource with online math games for students in kindergarten to grade 6. TVO Learn Mathify provides students in grades 4 to 12 with free online one-on-one math tutoring with an Ontario certified teacher. We also have TVO Coding in the Classroom. That's essentially an online hub for our educators, or anyone working with students that would like more tips and tools how to integrate coding into their learning. TVO Kids. Now that gets children ready for school to take on life through the world of the power of learning, take on the world through the power of learning. We have great games, we have videos, just lots of educational content available for preschool children and school-age children as well. And finally, TVO Today is home to our award-winning documentaries, podcasts, and journalisms that explore important issues in our society. Right, so TVO digital learning resources, they go through a rigorous review through equity and inclusion. TVO resources have been reviewed, specifically our Indigenous content has been reviewed by our Indigenous content specialists to ensure that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's call to action are followed to advance the process of Canadian reconciliation. Our learning activities are also designed in compliance with the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disability Act. So this means that all of our learning activities are accessible for all students, including those that may be using a screen reader as well. So questions to consider in this presentation is how might we support literacy skills in the communities that we serve? And what skills do learners need to be literate in today's world? We'll be going through resources that can provide some support for these questions as well. So we will begin to showcase the resources TVO has to offer, starting with TVO Learn. So this is our newest resource, which consists of learning activities for students in kindergarten all the way through grade 12. So it was initially launched in November of 2020 and provides educators and parents with an interactive way to help their student or child master the Ontario curriculum. TVO Learn connects the power of all of our resources in one place to provide you with engaging activities and topics that are aligned with the Ministry of Education curriculum by grade level and by subject. So it should be easy for you to navigate. It's also advertisement free and it's very relevant for today's learners. This is a screenshot of the homepage. So here you will see a list of grades, and you will also, once you click on a grade, you will see a list of the subjects that are available. So we have everything from math, language, social studies, arts, health and physical studies, and also French as a second language. Each learning activity provides a curriculum overview, curriculum strands that are covered as well. We've also woven the the SEL. So this is the social emotional learning throughout the strands and the learning activities. So there's about 12 activities per strand in each grade in math and language. And TVO resources that support the curriculum. So this can be a range of videos or games. And lastly, a vocabulary list of terms that are relevant to these specific learning activities. So this is an example of a learning activity categorized by strands. So as you see here, we have oral communication, reading, writing, and media literacy. And the text that's in blue, it's hyperlinked, and it will take you straight to the learning activity for easy accessibility. All of our learning activities follow the 3-part lesson format. So we have our minds on, our action, our consolidation. Each learning activity also includes a learning goal. So what are the students going to learn today? Or what is the child going to learn today? And our success criteria. So how do I show what I have learned? And there's also, usually in the consolidation, you'll see a reflection, and it's a little checkbox that students can check off, or you can check off if you're guiding them as well, just a way to consolidate their learning. So here is just an overview of what different strands look like from our reading, our writing, and our media literacy. Mine's on action and consolidation once again. And as you can see here, our learning activities, they provide an opportunity for educators to intentionally incorporate learning across all subjects. So we have our cross-curricular learning. So it's across all subjects and disciplines of the curriculum. In the next few slides, we have some samples of curated TVO Learn curricular charts. This is just a sample, so it's not a, it's for you to look and really explore through. It was created to share the possibilities of what you may envision and take beyond to suit the needs of the learners that you serve. We choose some of the themes of topics such as food literacy, we have climate change, environmental stewardship, contributions to science and technology, to begin the cross-curricular sort of activity here. So if you would like to access this slide deck, I put in the bit.ly link in our chat. And because these learning activities are hyperlinked, you should be able to easily click on the highlighted blue text, and it will take you straight to the activity on the website. Okay. And this is just a screenshot of our open house. Now this is catered to our high school students or anyone that would like to explore high school courses. It's available in English and French, 140 courses, and from grade levels from grade 9 all the way to grade 12. It's available, so it is an open house, so it's available for you to browse through, and you can click on the subjects, you can click on the type, whether it's an academic course that you're looking for, college preparation course, or a de-streamed math course in this case, or in the previous case of our previous session. But it's a great place to start exploring our high school courses as well, and how you can integrate them in your lesson planning, or how you can use them with the learners that you serve as well. So this is a preview of our grade 9 English course. So as you see here, we have 4 units. Within each unit, there's a few lesson plans. So the first one would have 9, the second would have 10, and they're also hyperlinked as well. So if this is something that you'd like to share with your students, you can just expand the drop-down menu, click on the actual lesson itself, and share it with your students. So this can be shared via email, chat, whatever platform you use, just for an easy transfer of content. So TVO Learn also provides newsletters. This goes out at the beginning of every month, and all the resources have been created and curated by Ontario educators. So you see here, that was a snippet of our newsletter from October with media literacy. So you can even actually, if you would like to sign up, and you can preview previous newsletters as well. So if there's something that might be of interest, you can explore those as well, and they're all available. So if you sign up at tvolearn.com, you can stay tuned for the June 2023 newsletter.
So I think what we're going to do next is provide a demonstration of some of particular learning. Some of my favorite learning activities we're going to share with you, and perhaps this may be something that may support the communities you serve. So I'm going to bring us right into the TVO Learn site. And so again, this is an open source site that you just need the TVO Learn link, and it'll bring you right to the page. I'm just going to move my bar because it's in the way. So you may notice, as we have shared before, that we have the 2 drop-down menus for content. We have the elementary drop-down, or what Natalie just shared was the open house, the secondary school content. If you scroll further down the page, you will notice that you also have kindergarten learning activities. The kindergarten learning activities are aligned with the 4 frames. So if I click on kindergarten, you may notice the 4 different frames. And for our purpose right now, we're focusing on those demonstrating literacy and mathematic behavior. So if we open up this, how Natalie already shared the program overview, how to use the resources, the vocabulary, and if we continue to scroll down, we'll notice some of the learning and literacy activities. So there's quite a few here. Again, things I know about books is one of my favorites because you can never have too many books, even though my husband likes to tell me that. I don't believe him. So I keep buying them. So as we notice, I really like some of the activities. They actually include samples of texts within and covers that students can relate to. Natalie also mentioned a cross-curricular focus, so I want to go into the grade 1 learning activities, and I'm going to draw your attention to one of the arts learning activities that, again, because I'm a teacher librarian, incorporates pretty much the whole text, which is amazing. And this is a drama activity that also shares the text, The Sweetest Kulu. So if I click on arts, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on drama. The learning activity I wanted to share with you is called The Sweetest Kulu. So even though that this is a drama activity, it also connects to a text. Another feature that was just launched, I believe it was just last week or the week before, is this view full screen option, which many educators really enjoy because I don't know, for me, myself as an educator, I find this page sometimes to be a lot is happening on this page. So if I click view full screen, I can focus solely on the learning activity itself. So again, the mind's on the action, and this learning activity, why I wanted to highlight it, it focuses on indigenous and specifically Inuit ways of knowing and being, and explores the text, The Sweetest Kulu. So if I scroll through the carousel here, we'll notice pages of the text that you can share. Another thing I particularly appreciate about this exercise is you can also play to hear the text in Inuktitut. Inuktitut, my apologies, I'm working on my pronunciation. But again, if I play that. I just think it's such a wonderful way to share the language, share the knowledge, share the ways of knowing and being. So that is an activity that is one of my favorites, and I know that is something that I'm going to be using when I return to the Library Learning Commons next year. The final learning activity from an elementary panel I wanted to share with you as well. We're going to go to the grade 3 category. I am going to go to language. Okay, and what you may notice in the language learning activities, they're all organized according to strand. I'm going to click on the reading learning activity, and I'm going to open up the learning activity called Making Inferences. So again, you may notice here the view full screen again. As Natalie shared earlier, the learning goals and success criteria are off to the side. So that is where you might find that. So again, we have the minds on action and consolidation. Some of the learning activities have interactive components, which Natalie shared earlier. So this is an example of that. A reason why I decided to share this particular learning activity is because in the action section, again, something I really appreciate, there's actually a text built in. So, and there's a number of different ways that learners and educators can share and interact with this text, keeping in mind with AODA compliance. So we can either play this text.
By Lori Friesen. The Accident by Lori Friesen.
Educators can actually download a PDF version of this text as well, and so they can share that virtually. They could print it off, or there's a transcript that's available as well that students could use a screen reader to help share as well. And this one also has a built-in activity PDF. It's a fillable PDF that learners and educators can engage with. So some really great content here. I'm looking forward to next year. They are continuing to update the learning activities. I know with the new language curriculum coming out next year, these activities will be updated to reflect the new curriculum that is coming up. At TVO, we never stop learning, so we never stop updating. Finally, I just wanted to highlight, just give a quick demonstration of the secondary content. So I'm just going to click on all grades right now. So right now, what I would do if we're focusing on literacy, I might click on English. The grade 11 First Nation, Métis and Inuit Studies course is on here as well for educators and learners to explore. So if I click on, oops, I didn't want French as a second language. I did want English. So you may notice all of the different courses. I'll just click on this one. As Natalie mentioned, they are organized in units, so you can either collapse that accordion, and then you would notice the lessons themselves. And the lessons in the secondary are organized in the same format as the elementary with a minds-on action and consolidation. Do we have any questions so far?
So actually, Mel, there was a great question in the chat, and I know Anil addressed it. It was from S. Masal. Are the high school courses counted as credits, or is it just for practice? And just to let them know as well is that the open courses that you're sharing here is not for credit. It is for viewing and can be used for lesson planning. But if you're looking for the high school credits, high school courses for credit, because this is where these courses are taken from, it's actually from TVO ILC. So I put the link in the chat as well. And if you're interested in those courses that are actually for credit, working towards a GED, that would be the link for you. And this is a great preview so that you can get a taste of what those courses look like as well. There's also one more question, Mel. Can the contents be translated for ESL students, such as the books?
So not yet. That is something I know that we are working on, but no, not yet. Right now it is English only. All right.
Great.
So we will continue on with TVO Learn Empower. I know in the first session, Sadia and Anil, there we go. Sadia and Anil shared how TVO Learn Empower can really support math and science learning, but from a literacy perspective, there is quite a bit that TVO Learn can be used for to support literacy learning and developing those literacy skills. So TVO Learn Empower is a little bit different. It's something that an educator or a caregiver would register for and add the learners. So TVO Learn Empower is uniquely supports the Ontario curriculum. Again, this is a free resource for all Ontarians and advertisement free. So there are never going to be pop-ups that ask you to, extend the learning by paying for something else. It's a free resource that again connects to the Ontario Ministry expectations, focusing primarily on the mathematics, science, and has links to the social studies. So this is an overview of all the different games on TVO Learn Empower from kindergarten through grade 6. There is a link there that we'll share with you that gives you just an overview of the grade that these games target, the big ideas that they address, the mathematical strand, and the learning goal and the world that they are located in. When educators or caregivers register their learners and they enter the environment through a game world first. So there are different worlds depending on the different grade levels for students. So the kindergarten world is called My Street. The grade 1 world is called My Town. The grade 2 world is called My Clubhouse. And I know this is a particularly favorite world of learners, even learners in grades 3 to 6 like coming back to My Clubhouse, which we'll explore in just a moment. And the grade 3 to 6 world is called My Ontario. And what is unique about all of these worlds is each one of these worlds are situated within a community or with the use of a map, which is really great when we're talking about supporting, when we're dialoguing about supporting students' literacy skills. Map reading is one of those literacy skills that our students will be encountering with. I know I could not live without Waze or Google Maps getting me to my location to location, but maps are something, because we're such a global community now, that map reading is an essential part of our everyday life experience. So students also have access to all of the games. So they may choose the games in their game world, or they can choose by clicking on, there's a green button at the top that will say explore all games. So students have the ability to explore all the games from kindergarten 2 through grade 6 in TVO Learn Empower. What is great about these games is there's no grade level assigned to them, but what you may notice that the characters are more sophisticated or look older. This is an indication of the grade level expectations that they're addressed, or the age level, really working to work within students' zones of proximal development, really meeting the learners where they're at. The game narratives in TVO Learn Empower also really serve to, each character has their own story and their own narrative. And what I'm particularly impressed about the characters and their narratives within TVO Learn Empower is that they disrupt the common narrative. So they are very reflective of the learners that live in Ontario, and they present learners and disrupt those common narratives and those common stereotypes that we may notice in society. So they really work towards really empowering and engaging our learners in the content. So this is an example of, again, this really can not only math when we're talking about location, could also use it to connect with literacy when we're talking about that transitional language or prepositional language when we're talking about the location of objects. So we'll just play just an overview of one of the games that learners may encounter in TVO Learn Math Empower.
Oh no! I lost my water bottle at the park! Can you ask my friend on top of the monkey bars if they've seen it, please?
You're on the right track. My friend in front of the steering wheel might know where it is.
Oh look! It's over there! I knew you'd find it! Thank you!
So something you may have noticed as well is that TVO Learn Empower is really great to support multilingual learners who are learning the language. So not only do they have the ability to hear the language being spoken, but they may see it as well. Learners, and I know from myself, when I have 30 learners in an environment, there are also settings that you may choose to turn off the extra music, but you may leave the narration on. So really a great resource to support learners learning English, our multilingual learners, to support them as well. I think I have time just to bring you into what it may look like from a student's perspective. If this opens up, perfect. So this is my daughter's account, even though she's in grade 9. We still sometimes go back and explore the different games. So this is an example of the grade 3 to 6 world. So when learners log in, the first thing that they will notice is access to the game world. So if we just click on play, they'll bring us into the game world. Okay. This button here, so this is, they can walk around, they can talk to the different characters. This
Explore grades 3 to 6.
You can change between the different worlds. I know that I have for some cases because the maps are different between the different game worlds. And I believe this is the general overview map of Ontario, which is something that I've used especially to support when I was teaching grade 3, to support urban and rural communities looking at a map of Ontario. So even though this resource is based on math and STEM, there are certainly other options for learners to explore those social studies concepts and other literacy skills. So what we had mentioned before was learners also have access to explore all the games. So if we click on that green button at the top, this is where they'll have access to all the different games. So again, and this is another way of improving our students' literacy skills by showing them how to navigate different, if we're talking about index in a text or how to navigate and find information in a game, this is another way to show them how. So they have two ways to look for content in the games. We can either search by the alphabetical order of the game, or there are different categories that learners can explore. And again, what you may notice is that I know for a fact that 3 Alarm Patterns is a grade 1 game versus Adventure Playground, which is a game addressed to learners in grades 3 to 6. And it's important to note that even though learners in grades 3 to 6 are playing the same game, it is tailored. There are different expectations or different iterations to address expectations within each grade. Are there any questions before we move on? Just going to check. No, I don't notice any. So this for caregivers, as educators, certainly you would register with an educator account. Otherwise, if you're supporting some of your communities, you could register as a caregiver and add learners. So you would visit the TVO Learn Empower account, select create an account, select parent. It will ask you to register with your first name, last name, and an email address. Once you create your account, it will send you an email to authenticate, and then you are ready to add your learners and get going. All right. Sometimes my buttons on my screen don't want to work. There we go. So the next resource that we will be highlighting, I'm just looking at our time and we're doing well. The next resource we will be highlighting, actually, Natalie, would you like to take this one and I'll go through that one? I know that.
Sure thing. Absolutely. Would you take over TVO Kids?
Yes, and then I'll do TVO today.
Definitely. Sounds great. Okay, perfect. So TVO Kids gets students ready for school and life. Every year, millions of children watch our programming and play our digital games on TVOkids.com. And we're committed to ensuring that every single child sees themselves reflected in our programming. So as you can see here, just through this opening slide, if you go into TVOkids.com, you will have the option to click on either preschool or school age, and we'll have content for both, relevant for both learners. Okay, perfect. So in this section, we will highlight a few TVO Kids series that can help supplement learning plans, learning activities that you would like to do with your learners as well. So again, as mentioned, if you go to TVOkids.com, you can immediately access shows and episodes. And you can also click on if you just see on the top bar, there's a watch live, and you can actually view the channel as a live stream as well. So 3 of our newest shows that I will highlight are specifically Hungry Brain. It is a short series that features top facts on exciting topics. The videos are between 2 to 5 minutes in length and can be a great opener, a great conversation opener, topic opener, and a short activity that also comes along with it, just to have students thinking and just to spark some curiosity. We also have Run, Jump, and Play, and this is an animated series about children on the autism spectrum who find the courage and who find friends and have fun while playing sports. And lastly, we have Ainara's Bookshelf. And Ainara, she's an Afro-Latina who is on a mission to discover new books that represent different cultures and experiences. She reviews literary works, and also interviews the author as well. So it's just a nice little bonus towards the end of the series of each episode, just having a chat, a one-on-one, very informal, very casual conversation with the book's author. So it's a great series to help your learners expand their libraries and find more representation in books. If you're looking for subject-specific material, so in this case, if you're looking for language, you can always click on Explore by Topic and that button right there on the top bar, and it will curate a list of shows, games, and videos organized by that specific topic itself, being language. All right, and so here we also have another resource that I'd like to share with you, and it is it's called Hungry Bears, the book Hungry Bears. So the shows on TVO Kids foster a love of reading in young children. The show Book Hungry Bears is one of our newer shows for kindergarten learners, so you will find this in the preschool section of TVOkids.com. It is an animated show that follows 4 bears as they go on adventures, they find books in the wild, and each episode has a read out loud story time with real books that can be funny, they can be exciting, or very calming for the young children. And here is Ainar's bookshelf. Would you like to do just a quick preview of the video, Mel?
Absolutely. I think that is.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I'm just trying to mute myself. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, there we go. Hold on.
No problem.
I'm Ainara, and I love digging into a good book. So let's read, learn, and grow together, one diverse character at a time. Welcome to Ainara's Bookshelf. Oh, hey, I'm just finishing off my morning oatmeal. Wow, it's beautiful outside. You know, a book involving nature seems fitting for today. Maybe one by an established author? Hey, this one is great! This is Beatrice and Croc Harry by Lawrence Hill. It's a suspenseful fantasy novel that takes place in a magical forest. This story is about a young girl named Beatrice. One day, Beatrice wakes up in a treehouse, which she later finds out is in a place called the Argilia Forest. She has no memory of how she got there, or memories of anything else for that matter. In this forest, all creatures can communicate with each other effortlessly, and Beatrice comes in contact with many different animals. One in particular becomes an unexpected ally, Mr. Croc Harry, a fabulous King Croc. After many mornings palavering, Beatrice and Croc Harry soon become close friends, but they learn unexpected things about themselves, each other, and their past. They must go on a journey to return to Beatrice's home before it's too late. This book is full of mystery and questions, but just know that right beneath all the talking animals, brave girls, and word games, there are lessons about segregation, race, and conflict. This is a story about bravery, boundaries, and knowing who to trust. Usually I prefer it if the story is from the main character's perspective, because it helps me understand and see things from the character's point of view better. But this story is in the third person. However, it's so beautifully told in the third person that I thought I could look at the world from more than one character's eyes. And since there are so many interesting characters, I feel that was so important. Speaking of characters, this was another story with many fantastic characters to love. Her animal buddies are so adorable, and I'm so jealous.
I'm just going to bring in to the author because Natalie did mention that. Oh, here we go.
And also a loss of identity and trying to figure out who you are.
Well, I've always been interested in identity. Growing up in Toronto with a black father and a white mother in a white suburb of Toronto in the 1960s, I had to really struggle to come to a positive sense of my own identity. And so I thought, for this book, what could be more interesting than to start the novel with Beatrice having had her memory erased? She has no idea who she is. She has no idea even that she's black initially. And why should she be thinking of that when she wakes up in the forest? She's got other things to worry about, like, is that tarantula going to bite me, or is that crocodile going to eat me? And so Beatrice, because there are no other human beings around in this forest, she's got to rediscover her identity with the help of Croc Harry and Fuzzy the tarantula and Killjoy the lemur and Horace Harrison Jr. the third.
And I'll just stop it there. But just to highlight what Natalie mentioned, it's a really great series to explore. Oh, you're on mute still, Natalie.
Oh, thank you, Mel. Thank you. I'm really glad we were able to show that, only because of it just provides just like a snippet of what the book is really about, different vocabulary, but also these perspectives from these underrepresented communities, specifically coming from the voice himself of the author. So these are great series to share with your young readers. Great, thank you, Mel. And we will also move on to, we have Teeny Tiny Stories. This is another sample. It's part of our digital short series on TVO Kids. And Teeny Tiny Stories is a collection of just very short 50-second animated stories. Each episode ends on a cliffhanger, which then invites the viewer to write the rest of the story themselves. So it's a great activity for creative thinking, creative writing, something that you can incorporate with your learners as well. We also have Keyboard Climber 3. So this is a game preview of students this can help them with typing their letters. And there also is a little bit of that computational thinking and how to work that within this game as well. So again, great resources, language-based, and all available on tvokids.com.
And just to highlight, Keyboard Climber 3 is a collaborative game. So students aren't just playing against the computer, they can actually invite their friends to collaborate and play with them.
That's fun. Yeah. Perfect. And here's our more literary focused games. So here's a preview. And again, if you do access our slide deck, these are all hyperlinked. So feel free, it'll take you directly to the game to support literacy at home, at school, or in your communities.
So I think we have time, I'm just going to take you to the TVO Kids site to demonstrate again how you may navigate this site. So again, when you go to tvokids.com, what you will notice is you can enter into the preschool content or the school age content. So we'll just begin with the preschool. And I will click on that and it will work. So what you will notice, the first thing you get when you access the site is just an overview of some of the new content that is available. As Natalie mentioned, there's the button there if we wanted to watch live what's airing. I think that brings you to a YouTube link. You can also just search by videos or games. Games in particular, there's also a game for the Hungry Book Bears. I think that's under H. No, it is not. And I will go through and find it. I do this every single time. It is there under, oh, there we go. Share a story. That's why. Under Book Hungry Bears. So that is a game. Again, all the books are in there that you're able to share with your community. You can also transfer to the school age content by clicking on the butterfly, school age. So again, this is what you'll notice on the beginning screen, which is going to highlight some of the newest shows. Generally speaking, too, for each Heritage Month, they'll also have a Heritage Month playlist. So we know that it is Pride Month this month as well. I know that the Indigenous playlist month is usually a sun up. But oh, that's sometimes annoying. You might want to turn the sound down. There is a sun at the top here. I don't know why. They must be updating it. Usually there's a sun up here that would bring you to all the Indigenous content for Indigenous Heritage Month. So again, exploring by content. If you're looking for content on a particular curriculum level, you can explore by content. Again, the watch live is there as well. Are there any questions that we can help address? All right, so I think this is one of the last resources we wanted to highlight, and that is TVO Today. And this is what I call TVO Kids for our junior, intermediate, and adult learners, where you have a collection of current affairs and documentaries and articles. So when you go on to the TVO Today site, what you will notice is the content is divided into categories. So the first category you may notice is current affairs. The next category you may notice is documentaries and series. So again, all the documentaries and series, all the content that you would see on TVO on the broadcast channel is also available here 24/7. And there's also a series of podcasts also available. I know that if you have a smart TV as well, there is, I believe, a smart app for TVO that you can download as well. So in the current affairs tab, you will find access to all of the different episodes of the agenda, which is a really great content to explore and learn, because it really delves into issues that are relevant to today's Ontarians. So all the episodes of the agenda are available there, as well as with Nam Kiwanuka, an episode called The Thread, really aim to engage and inform Ontarians in a variety of local issues. I know that Nam is doing a whole series now about green spaces in Ontario, so some really interesting content there. So TVO today, also under current affairs, has an Indigenous hub. So if we are looking for Indigenous perspectives, ways of knowing and being from First Nation, Métis, and Indigenous communities across Ontario, this is a really great resource to go to. Has access to different news stories and articles and videos from Indigenous communities and journalists from across Ontario. We also have access to all the documentaries in series to explore social, political, and current affairs through a diverse range of storytelling perspectives. So what you may notice is all the documentaries in series are organized by category, but of course you can search for them all or search by series. And lastly, we have a wide variety of different podcasts available. I know screen time, especially if we're thinking about what do students need to be literate in today's world. Screen time is a resource for caregivers and communities to look at how do our students navigate what social media, video games, some of that content is also applicable to be used in a learning environment. I'm just going to just quickly take you to the TVO Today site to just again, so that you have another way of accessing those resources. So I'm just going to click here for TVO Today. My internet is slow today. So as we mentioned before, we have the three different tabs how information is organized. So we have our current affairs. So this is all the episodes of the agenda. TVO Today Live are very special events. I believe they're hosting another TVO Today Live event in Ottawa this weekend. The thread, this is where you would find the Indigenous Hub. So if I just click on that, so some of the latest news stories, articles, and videos from Indigenous, First Nation, Métis, and Indigenous communities. And then if we click on the agenda, we'll have access to all of the most recent agenda resources and episodes, and you can click to load more content. For documentaries and series, I'm just going to click on all documentaries and series. They updated this within the last year. I really like how it has kind of like a Netflix kind of vibe going on. So you can browse by documentaries, by series, by alphabetical, or you could choose to browse by content, specific related content. So, you know, we have Canadian docs. So again, all of that content is here available for you 24/7 if it's applicable to share with the communities that you serve. Again, all this content is copyright friendly. That's another thing that I'm concerned about as a teacher librarian, and it is available to share. Finally, what I wanted to share is some of the podcasts. So we had mentioned, oh, there's a new one. I haven't seen this one before. The screen time is one that really relates to how our learners are navigating different, different forms of literacy and media, which is a really good one to check out. Another one of my favorites is The Art of Sovereignty. So it looks at 8 different Indigenous artists and how they were reclaiming their sovereignty through their artistic work. So some really good podcasts to listen to. And then now I'm going to have to go back to that one. That's the great thing about TVO. They're always updating content. There's always something new for us to explore. All right, I think that brings us to the end to our TVO outreach page. So our TVO outreach place is really just another resource on top of everything else where you can find information on everything again that we've just shared. So if you click, there's 2 tabs to explore on the TVO outreach page. You can click on educator resources, and that will give you specific resource material related to some of the resources that Aniel and Sadia highlighted in the first session and the resources that Natalie and I highlighted in this one. There's also access to a variety of different educator webinars, which I know that Aniel and Sadia highlighted the webinars that relate to coding expectations in the mathematics and science curriculum. They are available for you to explore. Another resource that is we wanted to share as well supports TVO resources for newcomers to Canada. I'm actually just going to bring you to that site because we do have the time to share this resource that may be helpful to the communities that you serve. So if we go to https newcomers.tvo.me, this brings you to the TVO resources for newcomers to Canada. This website is, so again, something that TVO is working towards is having websites available to be translated in different languages. And this is a website that can be translated into a variety of different languages. So I just wanted to make note that even though the website itself can be translated to a variety of different languages, the content that it's going to link you to, however, at this point is still in English. So there's a number of different ways that learners can navigate to different content. So there's different categories that they can navigate to. So there's daily life, politics and your rights, Indigenous perspectives, money and finances, and Discover Ontario, employment and careers, and Canadian stories. Another way learners and the community can navigate is by navigating the menu here. So I'm just going to click Indigenous perspectives. So what you will note when you activate or click on one of the different categories, you'll have access to the content. So it'll give you a little screenshot. It'll inform you whether or not it's a video article, and then give you a link to click on that. So again, if I just translated this to Arabic, you'll have that translation there, but the content itself is still in English. But again, just providing those additional supports for the communities that we serve. All right. So finally, we did want to highlight that additional resources are available for you to download and share with learning communities. So this link will bring you to this overview of all the digital learning resources at TVO. You can also request a session from one of our TVO ambassadors for your learning community. So again, this is a resource that's also available for free to just share general information with the community that you serve about TVO digital learning resources. We can help caregivers and the community register for some of these resources, learn general knowledge how to use it, help learners register for TVO Learn Mapify accounts, or help caregivers register their learners for TVO Empower accounts. And we would like, by visiting our tvo.org newsletters, you can always keep current with the content that TVO has to offer, because again, we never stop learning. We realize nothing is ever perfect, and we always have room to grow to support the communities that we serve. So again, just an overview of all of the TVO digital learning resources that are available to support the communities that you serve. And it is 11:35, so we had just the last few minutes available for questions, to how might we continue to go back and review some of that learning if you want additional support, or just general questions that you may have. So I'll just wait a few seconds, but I just wanted to say on behalf of Natalie, Sadia, Iniel, and myself, just a huge thank you today for coming out and learning with us. Again, if you have any feedback, we are always open to any feedback, because again, this resource is for the community, and we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the communities that we serve, and your feedback is an integral part of making that process happen. So just again, thank you on behalf of everyone at TVO. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for everything that you do to support the communities that we serve.